that's just the life.
So who's your biggest inspiration?
My biggest inspiration, that is a great
In
question.
life and art?
In life, I low-key would have to say my father. I think just because he always had the intention of motivating me and just seeing that I had so much potential and just so much more to grow. I think what I realize now, he was always trying to teach me new things. I feel like he was trying to implement the desire to always learn new things. I always want to improve as a person, as an academic, as an artist, always wanting to learn more. I had to give him credit for that. In art, I would low-key would have to say my mentor, Jamil. I actually painted him, fun fact. He was the first person to really shift my thinking about painting. Because at first when I was at my job, I wasn't taking it as seriously because I wasn't taking it as seriously because I was thinking, oh yeah, like I get to lollygag and get paid to paint and everything like that. And while I wasn't exactly confident with my skills, I feel like it was the way he gave me feedback. I feel like one important thing about artists is that you need to be able to provide good feedback. And with him, like he really knew, he had like a type of language, a type of approach where it opened up my eyes to new things. And it's like, oh, well, maybe if you did this that way and did this that way. And that's kind of how my painting skills kind of gotten better. And once I've improved my skills with painting, that's when I kind of realized, oh, I'm actually good at this. Let me see the potential. And it kind of all snowballed from there. When I first started to paint, I would say I was 15, 16. That was like the range. I feel like when it comes to now, when it comes to trials and tribulations, it's more so the planning of a piece. Or maybe not planning, but how I'm going to just execute it. Me specifically, I'm very calculated with how I make things. I want to make sure I know how the composition is going to look kind of before I do it. And it sometimes causes sabotage sometimes where I'll literally get into like a paralysis mode because I'm not comfortable starting a piece that I'm not completely confident with how it's gonna look. Because even with this one, for example, there's some distorting with the face and I didn't exactly know how to do it. It's like the first time I'm ever making that move where I'm pushing against a certain aesthetic. And with that, like I was kind of procrastinating until eventually like I just had the balls to just go ahead. As you can see, I'm distorting the face and everything. Back when I was just starting off painting, I think the trials and tribulations was just perfectionism. Like I was such a perfectionist. If I didn't like how stuff looked, I would get so critical of myself. And that just has its own thing of problems. I'm at least at a place now where I'm more confident of my skill overall. Obviously, when I'm in my studio, that's me kind of isolated from everybody because I'm in my process of doing my work. And I feel like it built a habit within me to be able to balance between grinding and being alone in that moment and then having like a social life. I've been able to kind of make decisions that are going into my work and my craft and getting better within each day, because consistency is important. So it has made me a better artist, being consistent. Self-love, it involves me being there for myself. And what that requires is me to being responsible to my gifts, and my gifts such as painting. It has caused me to just excel day by day because I'm putting in the work. I feel like when it comes to consistency, it really does make an artist better because you're getting into the habit of refining your craft. I feel it's also like, just to bring an example, when it comes to if you're trying to improve in your anatomy, or if you're trying to exercise your brain where you can create more creative ideas out there. Like, if you are not consistent in that type of manner where you're, even if you're trying to give it like 20% and do like one doodle, that's all it takes to be consistent. That's how I see it. So if you are not consistent, then the slower the pace is going to be. Not necessarily that you're starting your journey all over again, but it's just going to be harder to pick it back up and get to your desired place and your level of skill. A lot of my family, surprisingly, and I found out little by little, they're all artists. Whether if there was visual and they would do murals, or they would sell paintings, or if it was performing, a lot of them were singers and actors. So I got exposed to a lot of paintings on the walls of my uncles' homes and my aunts and everything like that. And that kind of planted the seed, I guess. And when I first started to engage in art, I was in elementary school. And there was this one class where she supplied sketchbooks, or notebooks really, it was notebooks, to every student in the classroom. And that's when I got to explore, start to just doodle whatever. And as a kid, and when I was in the 2nd, 3rd grade, I loved watching cartoons, so that's exactly what I would draw. I would draw the Powerpuff Girls, I would draw sketches of SpongeBob, I would draw sketches of Scooby-Doo, and I would just go ham. And I would do my own things too. I would start to make sketchbooks of whatever nonsense I was thinking up at the time, and I was having such a fun time. One of the biggest things that can lead to criticism and you not being happy with your work is self-comparison. Naturally, that is human nature, and it's something that we all have to naturally work on to avoid. That used to be a huge challenge for me. I would compare my quality to another person's quality. But what I realized is that that's not fair to me, because I'm not that person. I don't know what type of training or technique or what the work they had to put in to get to that level. My journey is not the same as theirs. I have to focus on me. I have to focus on, instead of worrying about other people, I can put that same energy into solving solutions on how I can get better. So it was a shift from self-comparison to saying, okay, if I want to be greater, then how am I going to get to that point? So it was a lot of looking at the brighter side of things. I feel like what really helped me through my journey is just being confident in your dreams. You kind of have to be your own cheerleader for yourself, because there are going to be people that are going to speak negatively to your dreams and your aspirations. So first off, it is important to really protect your dreams, because that's what's gonna feed your soul, I feel. So I say just give yourself grace if you feel like you've hit a wall, or you're not at the pacing that you want to be, whether if it's like visibility or if it's your skill. Give yourself some grace, because again, artists in their journey, sure, they're unique in their own way, but we shared some common stuff with just finding difficulties. So find yourself some grace, find yourself some confidence, and I feel like you'll have it figured out. You don't have to have everything figured out.